Welcome to this tutorial on structuring your essay from the University of Reading Study Advice team. The tutorial is designed for you to go through at your own pace, and you can pause it at any time. Structuring is one aspect of essay writing that often features in markers' comments. A structure that's easier to follow, has a stronger argument and clearer paragraphs will all get better marks. But how do you make sure that this happens? This tutorial will show you how to create an effective structure by looking at identifying your main message, using planning to help order your points, the role of introductions and conclusions, signposting, and clear paragraphing. So identifying your main message. A good flexible model for an essay structure is to think of your essay like a river. Your essay goes from your start point, or introduction, to your destination, or conclusion, with your main message in answer to the question running throughout like the body of the river. Then you have your paragraphs, which act like the streams of the river. They all make different points, but these points feed in and contribute to the overall message and move you further along to where you're trying to get to, your conclusion. What you're trying to avoid is having lots of good individual points, but no clear direction for where they're headed. This confuses your reader and means they'll lack confidence in your structure. Planning can help identify your main message and find an order for the points that you want to make. Now, we probably all know somebody like Perfectly Planned Polly, who has the incredibly detailed and neat plans. And we equally know somebody like Jumpin' Justin at the other extreme, who just starts writing straight away. Being somewhere in between these extremes is usually a good idea. There's no right or wrong way to plan your essay, but the act of planning itself is useful for developing a strong structure, because it enables you to do some of the higher level thinking and identify what you want to write about before trying to express it in your individual sentences. Planning also helps you group similar ideas together so that you avoid repetition in your structure. It helps you cut out any irrelevant points that would distract from your main message. It enables you to find a logical order to put your points in, and importantly, it helps you identify that main message that runs throughout your essay like the river. Some people like to identify their main message first and then make their plan based on this, but other people find that their main message will only emerge once they've thought of their individual points. Whichever way works best for you is absolutely fine. So how might this look in practice? Here's an example essay question. You may have lots of different ideas from your own thoughts and wider reading. Note these all down, and then your planning process enables you to group similar ideas together and cut out any irrelevant points. As part of your planning, identify your main message that will provide the body of your river in answer to your question. Note down your introduction to help you start on the journey, and find a logical order to put your points in to help move your reader along the journey. People often get worried about the idea of a logical order for the points. There's no mystery to this, it just means a sensible order that takes your reader through step by step. Just think about what they need to know first, what they might need to know next, and then next. Students often find it difficult to know how to start and end their essays because they're not sure of the role that introductions and conclusions play. A good way of thinking of your introduction is like a roadmap. You wouldn't start on a journey without knowing where you are headed. An introduction often contains a what, a why, and a how. You explain what your essay question is about and show how you understand and interpret it. You briefly indicate why the question is important. This involves putting it in context and looking at what might be disputed, interesting, or why we should care about the issues in the question. Then you show how you're going to answer the question, and this means your reader knows what's coming. It involves some of the signposting that we'll look at in the next section of this tutorial. So if your introduction is like your roadmap, then your conclusion is like the snapshot that you take to remember your journey. It summarises your key points, but it's more than just a basic summary because the conclusion provides your final answer to your question that hopefully all your points have been contributing to. Now to move on to signposting. A key aspect of having a good structure is letting your reader know what this structure is, so they can easily follow it in your essay and give you credit for it. Signposting simply means letting your reader know what you're covering in the order that you cover it. So you might use phrases like these in your introduction. And you might use phrases like these to provide links between changes in different themes or sections in your essay. Your essay doesn't have to have a beautifully linked and flowing structure. It just needs a functional structure that the reader is aware of and that they can follow. A good structure is supported by clear paragraphs. These are the streams of the river, and each paragraph deals with a different point. You introduce the point first, provide evidence to support it, interpret the evidence to show how it supports the point, and then link that point back to your overall message. Each paragraph acts as a unit of sense, and when you move on to a different idea, you show this by starting a new paragraph. Now, from this example, you can see, without even having to read the text, that there is a lot of text in one big block. This probably indicates that there are too many ideas put together at once, and it would work better if this was divided into separate paragraphs. You can pause this tutorial to read the example in more detail to see why this is. So to recap, for an effective essay structure, identify your main message that forms the body of the river. Use planning to help order your points like the streams flowing into the river. Think of your introduction as your roadmap and your conclusion as the snapshot of the journey. Use signposting to make your structure clear to your reader. And have one main point per paragraph. And if you do this, you will have a solid essay structure to support your ideas.